As the Indian Air Force prepares to retire its last squadron of MiG-21s in September 2025, one word keeps surfacing: legacy. For most, the MiG-21 is remembered as the aircraft that brought India into the supersonic age. For a few, like Group Captain M.J. Augustine Vinod Retd, it's more than history, it's a personal journey etched in fire, sky, and survival. Having flown nearly every MiG-21 variant the IAF ever operated, and survived 2 near-death crashes, Vinod reflects on the aircraft's history, its engineering marvels, and the moments that made it both feared and revered. Chapter 1. The Soviet Spark MiG-21's global birth. Born in the Cold War crucible of the Soviet Union during the 1950s, the MiG-21 was designed to be a revolutionary aircraft, lightweight, supersonic, agile, and able to dominate skies flooded with Western bombs. By 1959, the production line was alive in Gorky, Tbilisi, and Moscow. The world would soon meet the MiG-21F, a fighter that could climb like a missile and cruise at Mach 2. NATO dubbed it the fishbed, but Soviet pilots knew it as a pure predator. Over 11,600 units were eventually produced globally, making it the most produced supersonic jet in history. India would eventually manufacture 840 of those through Hindustan Aeronautics Limited (HAL). From Vietnam to Angola, Syria to Ethiopia, it was the Cold War's most exported dogfighter. Chapter 2. Delta-winged beast. What made it special? The MiG-21 wasn't elegant, it was efficient. Its defining feature, a thin delta wing and a conical nose intake that gave it a uniquely compact, needle-like silhouette. This design allowed for incredible climb rate, high speed turn, small radar signature, but it also demanded precision. With high landing speeds and low fuel endurance, around 45 minutes without drop tanks, it gave pilots little room for error. The early models came with the Tumansky R11 turbojet, later upgraded to the R13 and R25 engines, offering an emergency afterburner mode that delivered up to 9,900 kf of thrust, critical in dogfights. Weapons: a Jish-23 twin-barrel cannon, air-to-air missiles like the R-60 Afid, K-13 Adal, and even unguided bombs and rockets. Later versions, including India's MiG-21 Bison, featured modern radar, helmet-mounted sights, and could fire beyond visual range missiles R-77, keeping the aging frame deadly even into the 21st century. Chapter 3. Across war zones, the global legacy MiG-21 has fought in over a dozen wars. From jungle skies to desert duels, it has left a trail of legends and wreckage. Vietnam War 1965-1973. North Vietnamese MiG-21s downed hundreds of U.S. aircraft using hit-and-run tactics. At times, they matched or exceeded F for Phantoms in kill ratios. Middle East. In both the Six-Day War 1967 and the Yom Kippur War 1973, Arab air forces operated MiG-21s against Israeli Mirages and F-4s. Losses were heavy, but the aircraft remained respected. Africa. MiG-21s were flown by Cuban, Ethiopian, and Angolan pilots in conflicts against US-backed forces and South African Mirage jets. Afghanistan. Soviet MiG-21s flew close air support missions, but were vulnerable to Stinger missiles provided by the CIA. Despite its age, upgrades kept it relevant, from Romania's Lancer to Russia's MiG-21-93 and India's Bison. But its reputation was a double-edged sword. Its nickname, Flying Coffin, was born from hundreds of peacetime crashes, especially in developing nations. Chapter 4. India's supersonic gamble MiG-21 in IAF service. India inducted its first MiG-21s in 1963, joining an elite group of supersonic-capable air forces. By 1965, MiG-21s were flying combat missions against Pakistan's F-86 Sabres. In 1971, they played a pivotal role in India's victory over East Pakistan, now Bangladesh, including the famous Battle of Boira, where 4 MiG-21s shot down 3 Sabres in minutes. From the Type 77 MiG-21 fell to the Type 75 MiG-21 bis, and trainers like the Mongol India operated 874 aircraft across 19 squadrons at its peak. In the Kargil War 1999, upgraded Bison variants flew high-altitude combat air patrols, proving their relevance yet again. Chapter 5. A Pilot Story. 2 crashes and 1 legendary kill group. Captain MJ Augustine Vinod isn't just any MiG-21 pilot. He is one of the few to survive 2 separate crashes and live to tell the tale. In 1995, an engine failure on takeoff caused his MiG-21 to burst into flames. He ejected within 11 seconds, escaping with burns. Years later, a mid-flight hydraulic failure left him struggling for control. With nerves of steel and years of training, he managed to land the crippled aircraft. But those weren't his only memories. He recalls one training mission where he faced off against a Eurofighter Typhoon in dissimilar air combat training DACT. Using the MiG's ability to bleed speed and tighten turns, he forced the Typhoon to overshoot, a stunning moment that demonstrated the old jet's enduring power in the hands of a master. Chapter 6. The high price of glory. Despite its victories, the MiG-21 exacted a heavy toll. In India alone, over 500 crashes have been recorded since 1963, with more than 170 pilots lost. Causes ranged from bird strikes, engine flaming, mid-air collision, spillet, disorientation, fatigue in aging airframe. Yet, the IAF continued to operate the MiG-21 into the 2020s, with the Bison variant remaining combat capable thanks to modern avionics and weaponry. Critics called it a relic, but for veterans like Vinod, it remained a trusted warhorse. Chapter 7. The final chapter. Retirement. In 2025, after 62 years of service, the IAF will retire its final MiG-21 Squadron No. 3 Cobras in September 2025. India's air strategy is shifting to indigenous jets like the Tejas LCA and multi-role platforms like Rafale, Su-30 Maquis, and eventually, the AMCA stealth fighter. But nothing will replace what the MiG-21 gave. A supersonic leap in national capability, a training crucible for generations of IAF pilots, a symbol of defense self-reliance. As HAL became a full-scale aircraft producer for Group Captain Vinod, the MiG-21 was never a flying coffin. It was a rocket with wings. In his own words, you had to master it completely. There was no fly-by-wire, no digital backup. It was just you and the jet. Master it, and it danced. Mishandle it, and it bit. From burning runways to cloud-splitting climbs. From engine stalls to dogfight brilliance, the MiG-21's story is written in bold lines of courage and sacrifice. It democratized air power. It trained heroes. It guarded the skies through every major conflict India faced in the last 6 decades. As it takes its final bow, one thing is clear: the MiG-21 didn't just serve India, it shaped it.